Hello, my name is Alexis McDaniel and welcome to the Queen's Kitchen. Today we're going to be making cheese potatoes. This recipe is definitely a family recipe that is at every family gathering that we have. The good thing about this recipe is it's fairly quick. You can add any variation that you want to it, and there's not a whole lot of ingredients. First, we're going to start off with the potatoes. You're going to use about 7 to 8 small to medium potatoes. And how I like to cook them is you're going to boil them in the skin, so I don't peel them before I start to boil them. The good thing about this is it's a lot easier to peel them because you don't have to sit there over the trash can peeling them. So basically once it's done, you just have to peel off the skin, and it's a lot easier to grate. So I'll show you how that works. Essentially what you do, you bring the pot to a boil, and then you're going to cook the potatoes for about 20 minutes. You don't want them to be too soft because then when you grate them, they basically become mashed potatoes, and you don't want that. You want to keep that consistency of them being grated. So about 20 minutes, when you stick a fork in them, they're soft enough so that the fork goes through, but not soft enough that they crumble apart. So since I already have cooked them and peeled them, we're going to go ahead and put them in the grater. Now I want to go ahead and move to the other ingredients that we have. I've already grated the cheddar cheese. I definitely love the cheddar. You can use any type of variation of cheese if you want to, but I definitely stick with the cheddar. And we're going to use about 3 cups and leave a little bit left over that we can top it with. We also have a cup of sour cream. We have a can of cream of chicken soup. Try not to go for the fat-free, just get the regular, it adds a little more flavor. And then we have 3/4 of a stick of butter, 1/4 cup of dried onions, and then 8 ounces of cream cheese. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and mix all of that together. And like I said, leave a little bit of the cheese to put on top. I'm putting in the dried onions, the sour cream, the cream of chicken soup, which this helps add a lot of the creaminess to the cheese potatoes. And then the cream cheese. And just kind of mix it up a little bit. And then we are going to stick it in the microwave. I'll put a paper towel over it. We want to put it in the microwave until it's all melted. So you can go ahead and start off with about 2–2.5 minutes. And then we're going to stir it afterwards. Okay, so like I said, I have my pot of potatoes. I'm going to go ahead and bring them over here to my food processor. And I'm going to go ahead and grate them. Now, when my mom used to make this recipe, she of course would grate them by hand. And it takes a whole lot longer. And so I'm just going to go ahead and start grating the potatoes. Okay, great. We got all of our potatoes. Now I'm going to come back over here and check on the mixture that we have in the microwave and just make sure it's all melted. Of course, sometimes you need to be careful when you take the glass bowl out of the microwave because it's very hot. Okay, perfect. The cheese is pretty much all the way melted. Everything is together. And now what we're going to do is put the potatoes into the mixture and just stir it all around and get it all together. So I'm going to come over here and take out my potatoes. And put them in my mixture. Let's see. Put them all in. Great texture. Perfect. Okay. And then we're going to stir. So you just want to get it as, put in as much as possible. So it's nice and creamy everywhere. And of course the mixture from the microwave is going to be hot, so just be aware of that as you're mixing it in. Okay, great. Now, of course, the best thing to potatoes is salt. So at this point, you can put in as much or as little salt as you like. Of course, I like a lot of salt on my potatoes. So there's really no exact science to it. Usually what I do is I put a little bit on right now and kind of mix it in. And then before I put it in my serving dish, I just check and make sure that there's enough, and if I need to add any more last minute, I can, and it works perfectly. And if you want to put any pepper in it, you can do that as well. Don't really like a whole lot of pepper in my cheese potatoes. But okay, that's perfect. So now I'm going to take out my serving dish. For the cheese potatoes, since it's a family recipe, it's at all the family gatherings, don't really have to use anything too fancy. But if you want to, you can. I just have my good old 9x13 glass pan. And I'm going to dump my potatoes into it. And just spread them out, make sure it's kind of an even level of potatoes. Nice and cheesy. And there you have it. Of course, you want to scrape off all the little bits of the cheese mixture as you can and just kind of put it on top. And there's that. Move the bowl. And like I said, you have a little bit of the cheese left over. Go ahead and sprinkle that on top. If you need to grate some more cheese or get your shredded cheese out, you can. Of course, while you're cooking it, if the cheese is starting to melt too much, you can obviously put some more on at that point too. So that looks good. I have already preheated my oven to 350 degrees. What you're going to do at this point is put the cheese potatoes in, and you're going to leave them in for about 45 minutes. So we'll wait for 45 minutes and then check them and see if they're ready. Okay, so the potatoes have been baking for 45 minutes in the oven at 350, and I'm going to go ahead and check them and make sure that they're done. One way to know that they're done, besides the wonderful smell that is going throughout the house, is that you can hear them bubbling inside, which is what's going on right now. About halfway through, I went ahead and put some aluminum foil on top of the potatoes just so they don't get dry. Or get too crusty brown on top. So here are the potatoes. Definitely nice and cheesy, and they're bubbling. If you want, you could go ahead and mix them up. Just make sure that the cheese on top gets everywhere. But you don't necessarily have to, because we did put some of the cheese on top, so that should be great. Really, at this point, you could go ahead and serve it. If you want to make them decorative, add some color, I've gone ahead and taken out just some parsley, some flat leaf parsley, and you could put it on top, just garnish it a little bit. Of course, people will be passing around the table, so it's not a necessity, so you can put it on top, make it look pretty. If not, then you can just go ahead and put some on a plate. Now, I did just take it out of the oven, so it will definitely be hot, but nice and cheesy, good consistency, not too dry, not too cheesy. It's just perfect. Very nice. The cream cheese definitely adds a lot of creaminess to it with the sour cream. Put just enough salt so it's not too salty, but you could taste it at the end. So that is the cheese potatoes. I hope you guys have enjoyed making our meal at the Queen's Kitchen, and thank you for joining me in making a royal meal. See you soon.